Hi everyone, it's a week. Today we're going to be showing you how to groom your terrier or high-strung dog. This is Jazz. Her full name is Jasmine. And she's part Yorkie. She's also part Maltese. But the point is, she's very high-strung. And unfortunately, I have to muzzle her. As you can see, I started doing some of her face, which I'll finish at the end. And she ended up drawing blood, and even though she's not a very nippy dog, high-strung dogs get so worked up that they will potentially bite you, they'll pee, they'll yelp without even touching them, and they just work themselves up. So what I'm going to start off with, since she's muzzled, I'm going to start off with her getting used to the clippers, because this is her first grooming with them. So I'm going to try and get her used to this. Even though she is a very high-strung dog, I'm hoping that when I start grooming her, she'll start getting used to it and calm down. Otherwise, I'm hoping that if she doesn't calm down, she'll at least wear herself out so that when I get to her face, I can remove the muzzle. So, we're going to begin. How to get your dog used to this? How to get your dog used to this is you simply just take your clipper, you turn it on, don't use it, just turn it on and start kind of playing with their hair while this is close to them. Normally this gets them used to it. Normally. And then you just kind of get them used to it. Now see, this doesn't seem to bother her very much as the scissor. So we're going to try starting her. And I just had her outside, so hopefully she won't pee. And I'm going to be giving her a puppy cut, not a Yorkie cut, because I wanted to... Mom, who wanted me to do this, wanted her to kind of look like our old dog, because she looks almost identical with her hair short. So I just wanted to see what this cut would look like on her. So, it's always good to have a muzzle on a high-strung dog, especially if it's your first time cutting them or they're known not to have a good time being cut. Just for the fact that they do tend on biting. Or otherwise making it very difficult, and it's a lot easier to grab a hold of a muzzle, whether it's a big dog or a small dog. It's always easier to try and get them by a muzzle than trying to get them by their face. Because if you try to get them by their face, they'll have a lot higher chance on biting you, even if they're not a nippy dog. Jazz is not a nippy dog, but she was able to draw blood, so I'm assuming the muzzle is letting her know that she just can't bite me. And yeah, in a few minutes here we're gonna turn off the camera, and I'm just gonna finish this because this is the exact same thing that you do with Maltese, Shih Tzus, other dogs, because once again Jazz has straight hair. So it's basically the exact same principles as all the other videos. The only difference is she's a high-strung dog. As you can see, I'm not sure if you can see this close up, but she's actually very, very shaky. She's laying still, but she's shaky. Normally, it's when it comes to the scissor part that your dog will probably freak out. Why scissors tend to freak them out more? I don't know. Sometimes it's the buzzer that freaks them out. Sometimes it's just not. So, we'll come back when I'm working on our next tip on how to groom your high-strung dog. Right now, like I said, if you weren't like paying attention or you skipped ahead, muzzle your dog that's high-strung. So you don't have to sedate him, because what your goal is trying to do is get them used to you grooming them. If they're sedated, they won't get the full effect of what the grooming is, and they'll just wind all up again. And it's also very good if you keep yourself calm. Even if your dog is going spazzy, try to keep yourself calm, because then that will eventually calm them once you lay them down or stand them up, whichever they prefer to be groomed. And you just try to keep them relaxed and just try to keep yourself calm. And that way it doesn't wind them up even more. And now I'm going to pause this, and we are going to come back when I get my next tip, which would be the pause. Well, not the pause, but doing their nails, because sometimes it's difficult to get them to sit still. Alright, so toodles for now. Hey guys, we're back. I actually was able to do some of her face, because she actually allowed me to take off the muzzle, because she was relaxed enough. And so then I was able to get some of it. Then I had to start doing her ears, and she didn't like that, so then I had to put the muzzle back on. And so I was just going to finish up this ear. And she's actually been doing surprisingly well for her first haircut. And yeah. So it's better than I was expecting. She's, still shaky, but that's kind of what you get with a high-strung dog, is they'll shake even when they're laying down and somewhat relaxed. So, it's good to start off your puppy, when you're grooming them, it's good to start off with a very simple cut to get them used to it, which is another one of the reasons why I'm doing a puppy cut on her, just to get her used to being pulled around and kind of tugged on a little bit, and getting her hair snipped with a scissor and with a clippers. She actually likes the clippers a lot more than the scissor. So, just trying to get her used to the whole idea, and at the same time making sure she doesn't get all matted and knotted and icky and scuzzy looking. So we just basically keep the muzzle on her when she, or him, when they start getting wah. But if they're, for the most part, calm, you can try taking off the muzzle, and if it doesn't work, just simply put it back on and try it again a little bit later. That's what I had to do. Some dogs are different. Some don't really need a muzzle and will just sit and shake. But like Jazz, since she's a puppy, and most high-strung puppies especially, will kind of go after you. We're almost finished with her ears. The muzzle just kind of discourages them from trying to bite you. It also, if you if you get it big enough, it'll actually cover their eyes to a degree, which also calms them down to a degree. And once again, the big key factor is making sure that you're calm. Because if you're worried by any stand, your dog is going to react to that very highly. Kind of like if any of you have horses or have been around a horse, they're a prey animal, and if you're the one who's riding them, you need to make sure that you can pretty much stay calm in just about any situation. Otherwise, they'll take things into their own hooves. And things get very interesting from that point. Alright, we're going to try and see if she'll let me take off the muzzle again and get this one spot behind her ears. If she doesn't, that's okay. We'll just continue working on the rest of her body. Good girl, Jessie. Good girl. It's always a good thing to also praise your dog a lot, especially if this is your first time grooming them, let alone grooming at all. It's always good for them to realize that grooming comes with a positive feedback rather than not so positive. So it's always good to pet them and love them. Don't work them up. Just when they let you do something that you've been trying to do, give them praise or a treat. I preferably prefer going with praise, because dogs strive, well, most dogs strive for praise. The more you praise them, the more they associate it with, oh, good, if I do this, they are happy. And that just works a lot better when it comes to not giving them so many treats, because dogs can develop teeth problems depending on what kind of food treats you're giving them. Other times it can actually cause them to get fat if you give them way too many. So I just prefer to stick with the good old-fashioned attention as a good treat. And we're almost finished with her back. So I have a feeling for her legs, when I cut them, I'm going to have to put her in muzzle, because she'll be able to see the scissor, and she does not like the scissor. Good girl, Jessie. Good girl. Jazz is only about 5 months, so she's still a puppy. So it's good to start them off young, because the younger you start them off, the sooner you can get them used to grooming. It's okay. Good girl. Good girl, Jessie. No. Good girl. Good girl. Now, Let me get this one spot. I'm going to close your eye. Good girl. Good girl. Like I said, keep it calm, but give them praise. Try and get this little thing right here. Good girl. Close your eyes right there. It also is very helpful to when you're going around their eyes, especially for high-strung dogs or puppies. It's better to try to put your hand over their eyes, because then they can't see the scissor coming, and so then they don't freak out as much, because by the time you go snip, you can move your scissor away before they react. So it delays it. Another thing too with high-strung dogs as well as puppies is when you're grooming them, don't be in a place where you can constantly get interruptions. Because unlike more milder dogs or older dogs, younger high-strung dogs especially cannot be around constant interruptions, or otherwise they'll completely spaz. And it'll be hard for them to sit down. They'll constantly just get afraid and worried. So it's a lot easier just to kind of shut yourself in a room. Like I'm in a bathroom. It works best because the tiles I can just quickly vacuum up and it works. A table in your room or other things will work too if you want to sit down on a chair or the bed. But it's a lot easier to groom them when you don't have constant interruptions. So if you have children, like I have a baby, if your spouse isn't there or you're single, it's best to groom your dog when your child's asleep or at school, because it's just a lot easier to try and groom them without interruptions. And now I'm just going to finish up her back and the rest of her face, and then we'll be back when I start doing her nails and possibly her paws and legs if she has serious issues with those. Judging by how she is right now, it's kind of her nap time since she's still a puppy, so I'm hoping that I won't have problems with it. Alright, so we'll catch you in a bit. Hi, we're back. Jazz is done. You can see her face, her tail, which Mom for some reason wanted it to be long, so it is. And then I'm just about to do her nails. Now the reason why I like the Petapaws on small dogs, not medium or large, just small, is because it gives me a little bit more of a way to do their nails without having to cut them, because it's kind of hard to get their little nails into a dog clipper. So I just like to file them down to the point where when they go on the floor you can't hear their nails clank. And I'm just going to be trying to get her used to the sound, which she doesn't particularly like. I might have to put the muzzle on her again. We'll see. You know, sometimes what I also like to do is just take the thing off, because it gives you a little bit of an easier way to just file their nails more evenly. Now you can see how she's starting to kind of hype up a bit. So once again, I like to put the muzzle on just for the fact that it discourages her to wanna bite or wanna struggle, and in fact it just helps with her not getting too close to things either. And then it just helps all around. Okay. See the difference? Yes. You're okay. Hey. No. Now, for the fifth claw, when you're using the pedipah, it is always best to keep this on there, because that way you can actually get the nail in there. Yes. Yes. And I'll stop. And that's the end of this video.